Welcome to Vacation Rental Mastery, where your host, Karan Narang, guides you through harnessing vacation rental investments. Whether you're new to vacation rentals or expanding your portfolio, this podcast fuels your path to freedom. Join us in this movement to transform your life. Ready for change and legacy building? You're in the right place. Let's embark on this freedom journey and master vacation rental investing together.
Hey Adam, welcome to the podcast. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. This is going to be an exciting time. We're going to talk all about short-term rentals, and we'll see what we can help you out with. So, Adam, give us a little background about yourself and what you do, and tell us more.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Super excited and look forward to our conversation. So I am a Gobra. I'm in North Carolina. I've been here for about 3 years. I was part of the Great Northern Migration. I was in New York for about 20 years and moved down here kind of following the path of progress. So I did start my real estate journey back in 2018. I'm originally from Indiana. So I started buying small multifamilies, duplexes in Indiana. I currently have 25 units in Indiana. Those are long-term rentals. So that was my experience on the real estate front. I still have those rentals currently. Since I've moved down to North Carolina, my dream was always to house hack. So sometimes, it's been an interesting journey, but, kind of following that dream, I currently live in a duplex. We're living in one side and we are renting out short-term rental the other side.
Awesome.
So that's one of my short-term rentals. I was in a W-2. I was a W-2 employee for many, many years. It was in enterprise software sales. I left that world at the beginning of 2023 and then started real estate investing full-time. So it was marketing to actual sellers, to property owners. I did find a deal. I did several deals last year, and I did find a deal that was owner financed. I took one of the owner finance deals. Instead of maybe selling it to another investor, I kept it myself, did some of the rehab, and I've turned that now into my second short-term rental. So I currently have a portfolio of 2 short-term rentals, and again, in that kind of portfolio of longer-term rentals, that's where I am today.
Awesome, man. Really amazing. You had several pivots in your life, and I heard the first one I heard was moving to North Carolina, right? The Great Migration, you said, which is very interesting. The first time I heard that term, but that's awesome, and I think it's apt. And the second one that I heard as a pivot is you quit your W-2 and got into real estate full time. I heard these 2 pivots. Help me understand what made these happen? Why did you really do this, and what was the change? Why you don't like a W-2 job?
Yeah, all great questions. So I guess one, I was in New York for almost 20 years, went through the pandemic in New York. So we had a condo, my wife and myself, 750 square foot, 1-bedroom condo. And we both worked full time, and work, there was, got very intense. We were working 12, 14-hour days, and, really didn't leave. And we were just there, and somebody had a conference, or they had to take a call. The conference room was our bedroom. So we would go, leave the main room or the living room and go into the bedroom. That was the conference room. So it just, became a lot. We were there for almost the entire pandemic, about 2 years. And we said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something, a little more space, some grass, some outside areas, something. Mm-hmm. So we were, right in Manhattan, in Queens. So, really wanted to get out. So that was kind of the, I think you hear a lot of people moving to Florida, to North Carolina, just for that warmer weather. So I think that was one of the big pivots there on moving to North Carolina. And then on the W-2 front, actually, so unfortunately, or fortunately, January of this year, myself, my entire team, my boss, we were all laid off from the tech software sales. I don't know if you know Jamie Gruber. His big thing though is life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. Absolutely. So I've been in the W-2 exit micro tribe and really trying to leave my W-2 for years. And again, a little gift to me. And saying I was kind of pushed out of the nest, and I think it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so much happier, and just one of those things that in hindsight, I think it's going to be one of the life, kind of defining that you mentioned moments in my life that really was a positive thing that kind of just, really kind of just let me blossom and do what I really love to do, which is real estate.
That's awesome, man. I'll tell you, there's a couple of things that you and I did that are so similar. I moved down from New Jersey to Texas in 2017.
Nice.
For warm weather. Okay, my wife no longer wish to stay in a place that had 8 months of gloomy skies. And I'll tell you what, I've got 3 little kids, 9, 9, 11, game changer. I don't know what it is. We came here, we showed up here, we bought a place, we lived here, and my kids are exponentially happier. Okay, way better, right?
Amazing. Amazing.
Same with us. We're having the time of our lives. We'll never look back. We will never go back. I'm sorry to say that to the folks in New Jersey. I'm sorry, but you know what? There is, it has just been amazing, right?
Yeah.
So come on over, come on to Texas, come on to North Carolina. The
Love it.
sunshine makes
Absolutely.
all the difference. Hey, look at Adam. He's so happy today, right?
It really does. And I feel like they make you think, New York and New Jersey and the Northeast is the
Oh.
end all be all. There are other options. There are other places. There are other things that you can do that are better.
100%, 100%.
Yep.
And the second one, quitting a W-2. One way or the other, whether you quit or you left or you were asked to leave, doesn't matter. Bottom line is you're here today. You could have easily rolled in and taken another W-2 job. I quit my W-2 December 31st, 2023. It's been a little over a month, and it's been liberating. Okay,
Yes.
game changer for me. My mind has changed. My mindset's changed. I'm so looking forward to this new life that we're living. I feel free. So you know what? That brings us right into the theme of this podcast. The theme of this podcast really is the freedoms. Okay? We're talking about keeping and earning your freedoms of freedom, time freedom, money freedom, financial freedom, relationship freedom. You don't want to work with that ex-boss of yours. You don't need to work with him.
Yes.
You use short-term rentals to gain this freedom. Okay, it took me about 3.5 years in short-term rentals to truly go all out and say, you know what? I don't need that paycheck anymore. I don't need that. I don't need to work with those people anymore. I'm ready to elevate my life and take it to the next level, right? And that's what this is all about. So, hey, congratulations, man. I'll tell you, this is just an amazing time in your life, and I know you're going to make it absolutely spectacular. So that I'm so happy for you. Okay.
Thank
Now
you,
let's
sir.
talk.
Right back at you.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you,
Yeah, it's
thank you,
amazing.
yeah.
Great journey. Yeah, excellent.
Now it's been a complete game changer in my life, and it's been amazing. Waking up every morning and thinking, what fun stuff am I going to work on today? It's been unbelievable. So you know what?
And you get to choose it. You get to pick it. It's not like here you have to go do this because your boss says, or whatever the
100%.
demands are. It's what you want to do, which is amazing.
100%, right? And that for me, luckily, has been 99% due to the ability to grow and scale my short-term rental business. That's what's allowed me to get to this point, and that's what I hope that's the value I hope to bring to everyone listening to this podcast, everyone that I can speak with, everyone that I can coach, right? That's the goal. How do we achieve those freedoms? So anyway, let's talk about your short-term rentals. Let's change things a little bit here. What I loved about what you just said, you always wanted to house hack. And look at what you did. You actually house hacked on steroids. You said, not only am I just going to house hack, I'm actually going to house hack and make it a short-term rental. That's unbelievable, because the reason I say steroids is you and I both know that short-term rentals cash flow a lot better than long-term rentals.
Yes.
And if you're house hacking with a short-term rental, man, you've taken the game to the next level in house hacking. So congratulations on that. That's a big win.
Thank you.
So
it's been phenomenal. It's been a great experience. I've learned a ton. And real quick, just so I can speak, you mentioned freedoms. Having the freedom, now my car's already paid off. This pays the mortgage. So really it's just the expenses of eating and drinking, and it has been, that house hack on with the short-term rental has been, really a game changer.
Real wealth building.
Yes, 100%.
Actually, this is where I see when people say, hey, I'm making a few $100s a door on a long-term rental. I'm like, I'm not sure how we're going to make generational wealth with that. You know what? and yes, it has its place. It's going to do well as long as you're adding value, you're growing the portfolio, you're hanging on to it for a period of time. It's a little different. For somebody like me, where I'm just starting my wealth building journey, who came as an immigrant to this country with nothing to, not really anything substantial that I could take as a foundation, as a base to grow my wealth. I needed that supercharge up in the beginning, because that allows me to build a strong, solid, fat base that I can take and reinvest into other asset classes if I wanted to, and truly grow that generational wealth. So that's what it was for me, and I absolutely love your story. Great job with that. Now I'm going to ask you a question, because this is really interesting. My
Yeah.
least favorite properties are the ones that are closest to me. How do you feel about this one being right next to you?
It's good for now. Again, I would definitely recommend trying it. In the long term, it's not maybe, I think we're probably, so we're 2 years in. It'll be 2 years here in July. So I think we're probably looking to move at the end of this year. Again, I wouldn't maybe recommend it for the rest of your life, but if, doing it for a little while, again, helping you, kind of giving you that cushion and, being able to pay the mortgage, I think is definitely helpful. Um, it is a little easier too if you have to run over or do something, or make I will check for the cleaners to make sure that they've done everything. Just popping over, I think, makes a little bit easier as far as the commute. um but yeah, no, I hear you on that. Just that proximity, and I try to kind of keep anonymous too. I don't let the guests know that I'm the owner. I just say there are long-term net tenants next
Yeah.
door, so I kind of try to keep that anonymity as well.
Yeah, but you know what happens to me is if the property's right around the block, I'm running over for every reason to change the light bulbs, to fix the garage
Yes.
door, to do whatever. And I'll tell you
Right.
what, one of the other things that's been absolutely amazing for me is the fact that it's not, most of my properties are at least 3 hours away.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And,
Yeah.
and yeah, I have a couple that are closer, but most are further away, right? And what's been amazing for me is I don't have a choice of running over every time there's an
Right.
issue. I have to
Right.
build my processes and systems to a point where it doesn't have to depend on me running over. So I love
Yep.
properties that are far off because I don't have a choice. I am forced to build that team, to build the processes where I don't need to work on it day to day. And that allows me to truly take my time freedom to the next level.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's
yes,
fantastic.
it's nice to have a property close by. At least when you're starting off, you may think it's not a bad idea. I just don't like that feeling of, now again, if you have the mindset that you're willing to just let someone else handle it, even though it's right around the corner, good for you. I just find it really hard to just have someone go change over light bulbs if I'm right around the corner, right? So that's where, to me,
Right.
I love longer distance. I don't even, there's no choice. I can't get on an airplane to go fix a light bulb. So you know what? It's okay. So anyway, that's good. So
That's
tell me
great.
more about your second property. I know the first one's right next to you. Your second property, is it a single family home? Where is this?
It is a single family home. So they are both, pretty urban properties. So a lot of people have them, by the beach or in the mountains. These are
Mm-hmm.
both pretty urban. They're both probably 8 to 10 minutes from, they call it here in Charlotte, they call it uptown because it
Okay.
was, years ago it was on a hill. So
Yeah.
they call it uptown, but it's the downtown area of Charlotte. So they're both very urban. One's kind of on the southern side of the city, one's on the northern side, but this other one is a single family home. They're both 2 bed, 1 bath, smaller places, kind of little cottages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's the second.
Do you find one does better than the other? The single family versus a duplex?
So the duplex has been up since September of, I guess, what is that, 2022. So it's been up for about a year, almost and a half. That one, because it has review, I think it has about almost 40 reviews. That one does seem to do better. This one I launched in November. The second one I launched in November. So it has, I think, 5 or 6 reviews. It's getting there. I think it's slowly getting there. And I guess the one big thing I've noticed is, and this happened with the duplex, it was weekend, weekend, weekend.
Yeah.
Now it's, honestly, if I get a day, you know, open with it,
Yeah.
over a
Yeah.
30-day period, it's
Yeah.
surprising. Where I think this other one is going to do the same thing. It's going to be weekend, weekend, 4-day stay, 5-day stay, now, longer term stays. So that's been kind of the model I saw on the first. So hopefully that will happen on the other one. We have somebody now who's in next door for 34 days. So again, we've kind of seen
Yeah.
that,
No.
short term kind of come to that midterm. Still booking through Airbnb. There are some discounts there, but having that kind of, I haven't done a 3 or 6 month stay, but it's been kind of those longer term, short term stays, if you will.
Yeah, so we call those midterm. I have a property myself that does exclusively midterm because the town it's in does not allow less than 30-day stays. And I'll tell
Oh
you what,
wow, okay.
I'm hanging onto that property because the location is absolutely prime. Um, it cash flows, actually, it's way better than a long-term rental because it's
Yep.
it's furnished and they rent it by the month. I may have a couple months vacancy here and there, but when it does rent, we absolutely rent out, completely booked. The cash flow is just amazing, almost like a
Beautiful.
short-term rental, and it's beautiful. So it's
Yeah,
been really
it's
good. So
incredible.
yeah, no, that's
Nice.
awesome. So Adam, tell me, are there any specific challenges you're facing with these short-term rentals now? Are there strategic things you're thinking about? or changes you're looking to make? What can I help you with today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you touched on one of them. I think, is, kind of being able to step back from the business. I think some of that is on me. So I have good cleaners. They're good. They're not necessarily great. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that falls to me. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to, really go in and, it's probably only going to take 2 or 3 rounds. But what'll happen is I'll go in and I'll say, oh, this needs to be changed a little bit, or this needs to, I just need to give them very, very specific feedback on everything that sometimes they're putting out, 3 paper towel rolls where there maybe only should be one.
Yep.
Sometimes they're setting the table incorrectly, or they set the table, or again, it's little things that I'm still going over and checking just to make sure everything's done. I need to be able to pull myself out of the business. I think that's one of the things. Whether it's, and I did talk to them this weekend. I said, "Hey, are you guys open for feedback? And if
Yeah.
I send you pictures?" And she was amazing. Of course, absolutely. And again, I told them how good they were, and but it's just kind of me that I'm a little more, kind of rigid, if you will, or I'm, kind of, I like things a certain way. So I kind of try to, not say you're not doing things right. So I'm trying to, give them positive reinforcement and feedback. So I think that's one of the big things that I do need to work on. So exactly to your point, I'm not there every single time. So they had a property that they turned yesterday. I probably have to go today or tomorrow to walk it to make sure everything's done. I shouldn't have to do that. Like you said, if it's 3 hours away, you're not going to go do that. But again, if I can just do it over the next 2 or 3 cleanings and say, hey, here's everything, let's stay on it and let's have it exactly like this, I think that will kind of help to better, maybe not train, but to show them the way that, I would like the property.
So, number one, you're going there because you're close. Okay. So we
Yes.
both agree. So let's put that aside. Number two, I can guarantee you what I've realized in today we operate almost 30 short-term rentals. Okay. Some of them ours. We've got 9 of them are ours, and then there's 20 that belong to others that we manage for others. Okay. Either way, we're managing almost 30. And I can assure you that the guest does not care about how that table was set. They want it set nice, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But if the fork is on the right side versus the left side, nobody gives a shit. Excuse my French, but that's literally, I used to do this, right? And if you really think about being able to grow your portfolio, to grow and scale, I'm assuming you want to grow and scale your business, right? If you're having a great experience with short-term rentals, you'd love to go do more. If someone's going to do the job 80% as good as you are, let them do it and
Yeah.
empower them, and they will do a spectacular job, and you won't even have to blink. You have the benefit, you're close by, you can go do that, but you will have to get out of that mindset of managing them. Now, again, I also give people the benefit of the doubt that provided you give them enough direction and guidance, they will absolutely do things to your liking. I have no doubt about it. Everyone's here for a purpose, typically, and cleaners and maintenance guys and all these guys, they want to please you because their jobs are important to them. The more you make them feel as part of your team by giving them the autonomy. I will show you, I have a team, we're doing a big rehab outside of Austin right now. Okay. We need to change out some lights, and light fixtures are more permanent than the place setting on your table, correct?
Correct.
And they send me a picture and they say, hey, we're thinking of getting this light instead of this light, because I haven't even gone down to the renovation. It's over $100,000 renovation. We're changing out kitchens, bathroom. We're changing out the entire kitchen's new. The 2.5 bathrooms are new. The flooring's new. And I haven't even gone back to the property to check on it. I'm going tomorrow, right? But they send me these pictures and say, is this okay? Are you okay if we buy this? Are you okay if we buy this instead? I'm thinking of going with this look. And you know what I say to them? I trust your judgment. Pick the one that you think is going to look the best and make sure it's done. And they will absolutely take it. They own that process. They feel part of the team. They own the responsibility along with me, because we're both vested in this process of rebuilding this property and making it as good as it can be, right? The more you can empower them. I did the same thing last year. I bought a property over 10 hours away. I think it's 11 hours from where I live. In the summer, I live in Dallas, in the suburb of Dallas, and this was a property in Gulf Shores, Alabama, right? I closed on the property remotely from home, and then I went off on my travels. 5 weeks of complete renovations, exterior paint, new roof, new windows, flooring, new kitchen, new tile, new furniture. 5 weeks later, and I had not seen the property, and we went live, and it's cash flowing. We're going to do like 160,000 on that property this year, right?
That's incredible. Just
So
completely remote. Yeah,
completely remote, having the people there and empowering them to do what they're so good at. Big difference, game
yeah,
changer.
that's incredible. Yep.
If you're looking to scale, you absolutely have to have those systems and processes in place. And for me, I come from a deep consulting background in pharmaceutical supply chain, right? I took everything I learned in 20 years of consulting there, and I said, I'm going to use that in my short-term rental business, because I'm not just, renting out an Airbnb. I am actually building a hospitality or a short-term rental business. From day one, I implemented the systems and the processes. Originally started with my first property, and today here we are managing around 30 properties with the same systems and processes. They've been enhanced, they've become better, we've added on things to it, but the foundation remains the same because we put it in right in the beginning. It allows us to scale. I can onboard 10 properties into our property management system and our process today and have them live by the end of the week. So that's the goal. That's the thing. If you're looking to scale and grow, focus on those processes and systems.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And I think, I'm about halfway there. So the one that I just had live, again, I didn't do any of the work myself. So I was not there, doing the construction. So I'm, about halfway removed, but I was managing the people, I was buying the furniture. It definitely took a lot of my time, where it sounds like all of yours was completely remote. So I'm kind of halfway to where you are, but I couldn't agree more. Having those systems and processes, so it is a little more hands-off, and it is a little more on autopilot, it's absolutely the way to grow and scale.
And I'll tell you what that cost me. End of the day, if you're going to trade your time, if you're going to tell someone to do the work for you, it's going to cost you money.
Right.
For someone to oversee this entire thing for me and truly get the renovation done much faster than I would have myself if I was babysitting this thing, cost me $7,000.
Wow. And that's that trade-off. 5 weeks of your time. That's incredible.
That's
well
totally worth it. Well worth it.
100%.
And you want to know what I was doing during that time? I was traveling the world with my kids. I was in India. I was in Cambodia. I was in Indonesia. I was in
Wow.
in Thailand, right?
Incredible.
And it was amazing, right? I was still involved with ordering stuff. I was ordering stuff. In fact, now I've gotten to the point, I send my VAs, I have a team of VAs, right? With the speed at which we're growing the portfolio and doing things, I'm looking to find someone who's just going to order stuff for me. That's how it is.
Just one person that does all the ordering. Yes, yeah.
I want to take one of
that.
my VAs and carve out some time and say, hey, you need to order stuff for this place we're renovating. You need to order stuff for these 3 cabins we're building, right? Build out a whole list, send it to me for approval, and let's just go ahead and keep ordering stuff, right? That scalability is absolutely critical. So Adam, let's change gears a little bit. I get where you are at. I see what you're doing. Where do you intend to go from here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I have 2 up and running. I'm definitely, we're looking to leave the other side of the house hack. So we would then convert this side where we're living into another one. So that would be 3. And again, those are all in the urban area. So I am doing some investing. I'm doing some, wholesaling where I'm marketing to sellers. We're able to then take their properties, either, keep them in our portfolio or market them to other sellers who are doing flips. I'll be very selective on those. And then if there are some opportunities, maybe it's an owner finance deal. So for instance, the one that I have on the market now that I just got 5% down, 6% interest, which isn't amazing, but in today's market is decent 30-year fixed mortgage. Again, without a W-2. So that's, a little harder to find, but able to get, something again with 5% down. I put $9,000 for that house down. So it was, if I can find deals like that, I'm definitely going to continue to grow the short-term rental portfolio.
Hey, send me a couple, okay? Send me a couple.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I'm going to be very selective and kind of look for those deals. I think longer term, probably 3 years or so, my goal is, and kind of similar, maybe to yours, is to do some, a lifestyle short-term rentals. So, I'm here in Charlotte, which is halfway between Asheville, which is about
Yeah.
2.5 hours away, which is the mountains, and then
Mm-hmm.
Wilmington is on the coast, the Atlantic
Yeah.
coast, which
Yeah.
is the beach. So the goal eventually is to have a mountain house and a beach house, both short-term rentals, and then use them, in the off season, or even take, 1 month out of, or 1 week, excuse me, out of the peak season and use them with the family. So I'll continue to grow that portfolio. And so again, I'll have 3 here in the city, and then, 2 on the coast is kind of the goal for now. To be totally honest, I'm probably not going to have 30 like you. I'm not going to, maybe scale it that much. But if I can get, 3 or 4 more here in the city, so maybe I have 5 or 7 in the city of Charlotte, and then a couple on the vacation side as a lifestyle. If I can, maybe not make 160, but if I can make 50 and then use them as my
Yeah.
kind of lifestyle, properties as well. That's kind of the goal moving forward.
So one of the things that I'd suggest, right? You seem like you
Please.
have the right approach, right? You've gotten started, you've gotten some things rolling. What I'm going to try and challenge you here is to think about the systems and processes, because like I mentioned, that's the one thing that's changed the game for me. What are those systems and processes you have today? What are the systems and processes you can put in place to truly scale your portfolio? If you go at the pace at which you're going and finding these seller finance deals at 5% down for 30 years, because I think you and I both agree that if you continue to find these deals, right? If you looked hard enough and you continue to find these deals, the only thing that can stop you from investing and growing are these systems and processes required to manage the portfolio.
Yeah.
The operational side is what's going to get you in a bind, right?
Yeah.
Because tomorrow, if I said, Adam, here's 10 deals with 5% down or with owner financing, and they have the best terms ever, would you want to take those on?
Oof, it was, yeah. I mean, I did the first one having no idea, the one next door,
Yeah,
no idea
yeah,
what I was doing. Did
yeah,
the second one, I had a little more of an idea. It was still a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was still,
exactly.
again, a lot of me and my time. And yeah, so no, the answer probably is no, because I don't have those systems and processes in
And
place today.
that is
Yeah.
exactly the key, right? You've already possibly found the model for going out and finding these deals that are great. If you could keep every one of these 5% down 30-year financing deals and continue to scale your short-term rental business to take things to the next level, wouldn't you want to do that? I would. I know I would, right?
Yeah, no, they've been very
So
successful. I'm really, I'm pleased with,
yeah,
the performance. Absolutely.
yeah. So if it's me, I would absolutely put down on paper for the next 90 days and say, here are the systems and processes I absolutely need to get in place because that allows me to scale. If you could just if you could just visualize that you have 2 years from today, you have a portfolio of 30 short-term rentals, how would that make you feel?
Yeah, that would be incredible. I mean, that would be, I
Yeah,
guess, as long as they're managed properly. So again, if I had the systems and processes
yeah,
where I could travel to India and go,
yeah, yeah,
take trips,
yeah,
now I'm pretty tied down because I am self-managing. So if somebody has a request, I think that's one of my, key features is the responsiveness, is
yeah,
you know what I mean? The
yeah,
personality, the
yeah,
friendliness.
yeah.
But again, if I'm not there to answer the messages within 10 minutes or 12 hours at the most, I think, but so yes, I would love that, but I just want to make sure that those processes are in place exactly as you mentioned to be able to scale effectively and efficiently.
So I'm going to invite you after this call. I'm going to send you a link to our portfolio or our profile on
Wow,
Airbnb, and I want you to
great.
review or to look at our reviews. Okay? All those reviews are thanks to the team I've built. I
That's
do not
amazing.
respond to any messages anymore unless it's kind of off hours and I know one of my VAs is out sick or whatever, then I'll jump in.
Right.
I'm not doing any of that anymore. The only thing that I actively do myself is revenue management on a day-to-day basis. I'm managing the revenue and the pricing and the occupancy, but all the guest communication. In fact, we're in the process of implementing AI right now to manage guest communication and to manage internal knowledge base, because I need every VA to know exactly what's going on with each property, right? And it's very difficult because when we manage properties, we manage them all over the country.
Wow.
So for our VAs to know every property perfectly because they're working in shifts, I don't want them to make a mistake. So when we're building an internal knowledge base, they can go in there and they can search and say, hey, does this property have a pool? And the AI knows it because we're training it. We're training it with our SOPs. For example, the VA may not know the answer to, do we allow pets at this property? And if so, what the fee is. They can go and type there and the AI responds and says, yeah, we allow pets at this property and the fee is $100 per pet or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
thing. That's what we're building right now. It's all about scalability. If it wasn't for the scale, I would not be in a position to even try and build this stuff, right? So
Right.
I do believe that those systems and processes are absolutely critical. And I'm happy to share with you. And as a thank you for coming on this call, I will absolutely share with you my technology stack and help you understand what systems and processes we have in place. So you can get started today and you can start putting that in place. I don't know what you have. Can you tell me what you have today as far as your um, systems required to support short-term rentals?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am using Guesty as my property management software. I
Mm-hmm.
have Price Labs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, I think those are my kind of main two for pricing. And then I did subscribe. I actually wanted to get your opinion on this. If you guys are using this, I've had it for a long time. I rarely go into it, so I'm looking to potentially cancel. Um, is oh shoot, Rank Breeze, I believe it's called, where it kind of shows your ranking. So
Yeah.
honestly, I've tried some different things and it really wasn't all that effective. So I'm like, and again, I probably haven't gone in 2 months maybe to Rank Breeze, and I'm paying, whatever the fee is. So I'm thinking about canceling. That was one of the questions I had for you today, is if you would recommend that. I seem to be doing fine, with Guesty and Price Labs. I'm not sure if I needed to, continue to implement that or not.
So a lot of people swear by rank breeze.
Okay.
Um, I've had rank breeze in the past, and I'm not so impressed from my own personal perspective because I'm not necessarily sure it's a science that works the way it is. The algorithm doesn't necessarily work that way. I'm actually convinced that like Airbnb has incorporated AI into their algorithm
Yep.
and picks up things that, it's hard for anyone to predict. It's
Right.
hard for like rank breeze goes off of this whole process of, I believe, goes off of this process of seeing where you rank on Airbnb and stuff like that, and the results are different for everyone. So you and I could search up in incognito mode, okay, in privacy mode on our browsers for the exact same location and the exact same dates, and you and I will see completely different properties ranked on the first page.
Interesting.
In fact, take this experiment home. Open up Chrome and look up on your computer in incognito mode. Look up Charlotte. Okay,
Okay.
see where your property ranks. Open up your cell phone and look up. Same thing in incognito mode on your phone. It gives you different results on your phone than it
Wow.
does on your computer. So
Interesting.
I'm convinced that science is really hard, and it's really,
Yeah.
really hard to figure out what the effect of the change is going to be on your ranking. The idea, and I'm also convinced that this differs by market. Every market is different. So what works in my market for ranking, to improve my ranking, does not work in your market. But I'm also convinced that price competitiveness is the number one thing that'll change your ranking.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that end of the day, Airbnb wants to provide its guests the best value possible, right? And the only way they can provide that to the guest is by pushing down or making sure that they're ranking the properties with lower prices much higher up. I
Right.
also actually believe that if you price your property significantly lower than the market, let's say the market is at $100 a night and you're pricing yours at 39 a night, Airbnb looks at it and says, this guy doesn't think his property is worth anything close to the market price. Is he truly putting on a dump on the marketplace? Do we want to promote this? I promise you, I get this feeling from my experience. If the property is priced too low, I have a feeling it kind of pushes it out to the back because it says, this guy's not even sure his property is worth what the market is willing to pay. Is he really putting out good product? We want good stuff up front.
Right. So you have to be
So
somewhere in between. You want to be a little bit lower, it sounds like, than market, but not too low where it's
exactly.
like, Right. This is
Exactly.
a dump or right. Yeah.
Now, what's been really helpful for me as part of my revenue management process is I look at price labs and I look at the neighborhood information. You've seen that, right? That tab on price labs that allows you to look at the neighborhood. It allows
Neighborhood
you to
data.
look at,
I
yeah,
see it here.
neighborhood
Yep.
data. So
Okay.
that's been really helpful. It allows me to tweak pricing the way I want it. And if you have not set up comps, have you set up comps in price labs?
Um, it's pulling up now, competitive set. I don't know if I've set them up or there, it looks like there are some. Yeah, I do have a few in there. I think I have 5 in there.
So go in and look at your comp set. These are your
Okay.
direct competitors you're working with. And you will,
Okay.
if you monitor this on a regular basis, you will be able to see at what price they got booked, when did they get booked, and what they're going to get booked at, right? So you will start feeling the prices a lot more than you're actually seeing. And that's the key, in my opinion, to maximizing your revenue. If
Is
there's
looking at the
one,
comp set.
yeah,
Yeah.
if there's one thing you want to keep is this revenue management, try to find a way to systematize everything else. For example, I'll give you an example, right? Cleaners. Do you ever send them a reminder about a clean? Hey, don't forget we have a clean today?
I don't. So I used Turno,
Yeah.
which I guess was turnover. So I mean
Yes.
that kind of that to me is a system that everything is done
So
and they get a reminder and yeah, I mean it's worked pretty well. I started that maybe 9 months ago and I've been pretty impressed. It's been
exactly.
pretty seamless.
Do
Yeah.
you auto pay through Turno?
Yes. Yep.
So again, that's your operational system. You want to have your table set a certain way, use the pictures. You can set up
Yes.
in Turno and say, this is how I want it set.
Right. And I have done that. I've taken pictures and a very good description
Yeah.
about every single thing. She even was like, I think I had like one of them, I had 130 different, items. She was like, can you get that down? So I got it down to like 80, I guess, but there's still quite a few. But so I guess my thing is I have the pictures but they're just not doing exactly everything. And you're right. Maybe I guess my thing though is if I don't start correcting them now, I've noticed in the past is that then it starts to slide a little bit more and a little bit more. So I kind of want to get on it now to be like, hey, here's the picture. Can you please make it look like the
And
picture, not like you said? And that's the big thing actually, is the fork is on the wrong side. So somebody comes and they're like, geez, this is not how you set a
did
table.
someone actually give you that feedback?
No, but I guess me as a guest, maybe I'm a little more anal than other people. If I came, I'd be like, this looks a little weird. Why is this not like, again, maybe it's just me, but if
Yeah.
you went to a restaurant and you saw that, you'd be like, this table's not set right, so. But no,
Remember,
you're absolutely right. No one said that to me.
and maybe just the fact that you're telling me there's 80 things in there right now, you're already doing, honestly, you're killing her with your detail. Okay.
Yeah,
Scale it back
yeah,
a little bit and give her the
yeah,
flexibility and the freedom to do some of it herself.
yeah.
And she will help. Things will work out. So,
Right.
you need to get your head out of the operational mode. Think
Right.
about running a business. You're not going to own a Taco Bell and go tell the guy, this is how much cheese you put on the taco.
Right. Yeah. Which
They
is
have
kind of what I'm doing, I
guidelines,
guess.
but
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So
Right. Right. No, that's a good point.
that's what it comes down to. Okay,
Yeah. Love
awesome,
that.
awesome. So Adam, what else can I answer for you today on this call?
Yeah. I guess another question. I know it sounds like the one thing that you're keeping is price labs. Is that kind of that pricing is the revenue management piece of it. So, I guess I'd love to get a little bit, more in depth about what you're doing on price labs. Honestly,
Hmm.
shame on me. I mean, I probably go in once a month. Like, is it right? Is it, and I probably don't go in that. It just seems because I know it's dynamic pricing and it kind of sets
Hmm.
it wherever, so I just looked and said, I'm on it now, one of my properties, and it says, what's my what should my pricing be? Where they kind of they configure that your daily pricing average.
Yeah,
I'm within $1 of that.
yeah.
So again, I'm kind of like setting it and forgetting it where, it's automatically updating once a day to Airbnb and sending over the pricing, but I'm right where it's telling me to be. So I don't go in that often, and maybe I should. I'd love to hear kind of what you're doing and, why you're going in, if there was that dynamic pricing and, how people should kind of work on that revenue management side.
So I go into Price Labs every single day,
Okay.
and I may or may not change pricing every single day for every property. And the
Wow.
reason is because market trends change. Give you a simple example. Okay. Let's say you have a property that is at the beach
Okay.
and you set up the pricing to be X dollars, and now the news is saying there's a hurricane coming.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Just think about it. If there is a hurricane coming and me as the guest now has a perceived risk of hey, it's going to wash out my entire vacation. I might have been willing to pay $500 a night. Now I'm perceiving a risk of washout, perceiving a risk of, yeah, you know what? I may have to spend all my time indoors because I'm not going to be able to hang out at the beach because of the rain. What changes? My willingness to spend $500 changes. I've already blocked out the date. If I want to still go, if I want to still bring that guest in, I will need to lower the price. Otherwise, the
There's
guest
one,
says, the guest may be okay spending 300 and being indoors if needed for most of the time, but he may not be okay
but
spending
not
500
five.
being indoors. So the weather changes, and that can change your short-term rental performance.
Right. Now, let me ask you, so I know at least Price Labs pushes it to Airbnb once a day, but do they also though, will they look at competitive properties and lower it automatically for you? So it might take you an extra day, day and a half, 2 days, but does it automatically kind of based on on competitive rates get you to kind of where everybody else is?
So you need to understand how Price Labs is working, right? It's taking a base rate that you set.
Okay.
Based on that rate you set, it is then adding on factors that raise prices and taking off factors that reduce prices. Things like market demand, things like events, things like availability of properties, all this stuff will help raise your prices. And then things like weather or other stuff and neighborhood stuff or seasonality, all that stuff will lower it. If you hover your cursor over a price on a certain date, you will see all the factors applied to the base rate.
Wow. I didn't even know it existed. I can see it. It's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
So
Cool.
the number one thing, if you're going to take away one thing from this call today, is that you've got homework to do on Price Labs.
Okay.
99% of people, and it's not your fault, it's the messaging that people like Price Labs put out. They're a great system, but the messaging is, we're doing all the dynamic pricing for you. Even the airlines, just so you know, when the airlines have dynamic pricing for their pricing, there is a manual piece to it. There's a revenue manager on the back end doing some work. Okay?
Right.
This is why every once in a while you'll hear, oh, there's a mistake fare or error price on a flight ticket somewhere. Oh, I got this insanely good deal because someone screwed up in the back end, right? So you know what? There's manual stuff still happening. It's not yet intelligent enough to do completely autopilot, right?
Got it.
So
Okay. Yeah,
you
that's
need
really
to
helpful.
be in there. My recommendation to you, and this will result in a direct change in your bookings, I guarantee you. If you're booked, and the other thing that rang an alarm bell for me is the fact that you said, if I find an open day, open night, that's like crazy, right? Everything's booked solid. Are you sure everything's booked solid at the maximum rate possible? Because it's not about the occupancy, it's not about nightly rate,
Yep.
it's about revenue,
Love that. Yeah.
right? So I would rather see, 20 out of 30 days booked at a price that's 1.5 times of what I currently have
Yep.
versus 100% at 50% lower price. The revenue
Right.
is much higher with lower occupancy and potentially leaves a couple days open for me to book and get a little extra on top, right?
Got it.
So the
And is that
fact,
all through Price Labs? Is that all like that piece of it where you do that exercise to maximize your revenue? Is that a Price Labs
absolutely,
exercise?
all the
Okay,
data you need is right there,
great.
right? You have Price Labs, you've got the neighborhood information, you've got your competitors' information. Actually, there's other tools. I use a couple of other tools as well. I use Key Data. There's a system called Key Data that I use. But I don't think you need that at this point. What you need is to spend quality time in your Price Lab system. And the reason you're not able to spend time in it is because you're about to go check if the table's set the right way or not.
Put the fork on the left side, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So, but you get my point. So
100%.
you only
And
have,
that's super smart. Thank you. Because I was thinking it as a great thing. Look at my, I'm 99% occupancy, but you're like, ooh, that could be bad. Why don't
yes.
you add 80% with double the revenue or whatever that looks like? That's an amazing point. I really,
So
like you said, that's a great takeaway. That's probably the big aha moment. They said
yeah.
something in Vermont. It was like a bonus time or
It's the
whatever.
bonus time.
Everything
Not,
else is
yeah.
bonus time.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
No, so
Yeah.
absolutely spectacular. Again, if all you did is focus on Price Labs, I will tell you, make these changes. Look at it on a daily basis for the next 2 weeks, and you
Yeah.
will absolutely see a change in your numbers.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
One thing I did look at, so I was looking at just to see where I was ranking, me pulling it up as a guest, again, knowing it could come up higher or lower on my system, but I looked at, a month stay in April. So one thing I do have is for anything longer than 14 days out, it's a minimum of 30-day stay. So I am trying to get those mid-term rentals in there. So, I guess that's one thing, but I did look in April at a 30-day stay. It was significantly higher. I think I was at like $4,200, where the competition was at like, 25 to 3,000. So I definitely am like, wow, that's really, I was one of the favorites. So mine actually came up first. Again, it's my computer, so that might have something to do with it, but it did come up, was, pretty prominently ranked, but the pricing was, it seemed, much, much higher than the competition. So I definitely need
If
to
you,
do some digging in there.
if you are going to look up on your own computer, then go to incognito mode. So open up
Okay,
Chrome,
great.
go to
Yep,
incognito mode, because otherwise it's going to bring up the same ones over and over again. It gives you a false sense of security that, you know what,
yep,
I'm ranked top.
that's great.
The
That's
other thing
great.
that I'm also going to advise you on, the pricing is so important. You need to understand something called pacing. What is the pace at which these properties get booked? In this market, in this hyper local market, how far out are properties getting booked, right?
Right,
Certain markets are last minute markets. So certain markets are, hey, you know what? We're going to this beach vacation and I need to book it, 6 months in advance because I'm having 3 families come together and we're going to go. Others, it's going to get booked, right?
right,
Every customer, every guest has a different way of looking at this and doing things. So if your market, you need to understand that in my market, properties tend to get booked out typically 45 days in advance.
yep,
If you miss that date, 45-day date to be priced correctly, and your property is priced too high 45 days out, and you miss that window, you might find that when you get into like the week of the stay and you're still not booked, you need to drop the price significantly to actually get booked. So you
yep,
lost that window of opportunity to book at the maximum possible price. So timing your pricing is absolutely critical. It's called pacing.
that's great. Yeah, that's huge. Okay, yeah, I definitely need to look into that. And I guess a question for you, on the again, I'm trying to kind of get just, specifically because it is next door and it's just
Yeah,
easier to have a,
yeah.
longer term, like a midterm stay. Again, I've never had, anything longer really than a month. So it's still in that month window. But what are your feelings on doing that? I think I read that somewhere where anything longer, you're kind of driving people to that longer term stay. Anything 14 days out is a 30-day minimum. Are you kind of okay with that tactic?
The only place that I keep 30-day minimums is where the city requires me to.
Got it. Okay.
Because what I'm convinced is 30-day minimums, that longer stay is usually done at a discount, right?
Yeah,
You're
that's
usually
true.
giving
That's
them
true.
a 25-30% discount, if not more, to get the longer stay, correct?
Right. Correct.
If I said that you're giving, let's say, a 30% discount, so now what if I said that you don't get the longer stay, but you can still rent out for 20 days and make the same amount of money?
Yeah.
The value of having those open nights and potentially booking another couple nights or 3 or 4 or 5 nights, just having it open and available, for me is more important, more priceless.
Right.
So that's why if the city will allow it, if the regulations allow it, I'd rather do short term than midterm, right? So
Right.
that's my approach. Now, on midterms, the other thing to keep in mind, we're just taking on this other property to manage that came off of a midterm renter. Okay. Unfortunately or fortunately, that midterm renter has been there for a year and just left. When I go into property thinking this is a vacation and I'm a midterm renter, I no longer treat it as home if I'm renting it for a year. I don't do minor maintenance. I let things go crazy. I stain the
Interesting.
sheets and the blankets and the furnishings and all that stuff.
Right.
It's just a nightmare because, yes, I love the cash that came from it, but more than likely, the work I need to put in to bring it back into a short-term rental business is much bigger. Normally, in a long
Interesting.
term, you don't provide pots and pans. In a short term, you provide pots and pans.
Right.
Midterm, you provide pots and pans. But if that midterm goes to a year, if they misuse all that stuff for a year, it's trash now.
Right.
So
Start all over almost. Yeah.
I'm on the fence about midterm. I've made plenty of money on midterm, but not my favorite because I also still believe that in a midterm, they tend to think they booked it on Airbnb and we're at their beck and call no matter what. So
Right.
it's the drawbacks of short term, which is this being available and handling and this concierge service that we provide. But now with that guest for a long period of time, hey, the other beautiful thing about short term, you can be the worst guest ever, and guess what? I know you're leaving on Monday. So I can push through the weekend, man. So
Right.
midterm is like, you know what? It's neither here nor there. I'm like a all-in kind of guy. You know what? If I'm gonna go short term, let's go short term, right? So
Right.
it's not my favorite. If your city allows it, give it a shot. In fact, the
Yeah.
good part is you got 2 units. Try one, and you're gonna have 2 duplexes, right? One next to each other.
Right.
Put one of them as a midterm, one as a short term, and you'll have
I love
real
that.
data to compare.
Yep, the A and B. Yeah, and I think just, real quick, I think that definitely goes back to your systems and processes.
Yeah.
So, I do it as a 30-day because honestly, it's easier for me. I don't have to go over and check it. I don't have to make any repairs. If I have a team that's doing it, I'm not worried about it. So I'd rather have the 3,200 for a
Yeah.
midterm guest than a 3,800 a month because it's less work on me.
Yeah.
But if I had all those systems and processes in
Yeah.
place, I'll take the 38 and I still don't have to do anything. So I think
100%.
goes
100%.
right back to your point. So that's such a good
Yeah.
a couple of great takeaways for me. This has been amazing. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad I was able to help. We're almost at the end of our time. I do appreciate you coming on. I hope this conversation has been very valuable to you. You can reach out to me anytime, no matter what, right? Reach out to me, and we can, I'll be happy to help you out. But Adam, thank you very
Fantastic.
much for being on this call, and looking forward to building a strong relationship with you.
Yeah, same. This has been amazing. Wow, your feedback and guidance has been tremendous. I really, really appreciate it. So helpful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you for joining us on Vacation Rental Mastery. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in for our next episode, where the journey to financial freedom and lifestyle flexibility continues. Here's to your success in the exciting world of vacation rentals.